The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Whether you are asking for compensation for a knee or an elbow or a back or neck condition, the VA is going to send you to the same type of examination. The VA will order what's called a muscular skeletal compensation and pension examination. Oftentimes, these examinations are done by a nurse or a physician's assistant. The main purpose of this examination is to determine what rating is most appropriate for the condition that's service-connected. One of the most common ways that the VA rates any joint, again, whether it's the back, the knee, the elbow, is based on the loss of range of motion, both either in forward or backwards range of motion. And so the examiner, when they meet with you, will usually use what's called a protractor. If you remember elementary school, it's that half circle thing that measures angles. They are literally going to have a protractor that the VA is going to ask them to measure your range of motion loss with. It may seem funny, it may seem ridiculous, but the VA is not known for being the most up-to-date with medical technology, so they use a protractor. It's very important that when you are going to these exams, that you give your best effort. They can tell if you're trying to fake it or not giving best effort, and they'll note that in the exam. But it's important to give your best effort so they can measure the best range of motion for you. The examiner should do the exam 3 times. They're supposed to do it 3 times to determine whether fatigue is going to cause you further reduction in range of motion. Outside of actually doing everything they ask you to do, there is one thing that's very important for you to communicate to the examiner, and that's the symptom of pain. The VA will acknowledge that there's times with these conditions where you may be functioning better than others. So let's assume on a day where you're functioning really well, you may go and your range of motion may look really good, but that does not mean that you should not be compensated for those days when your range of motion is not very good. To get the most out of your evaluation, it's very important that you communicate not only how you are on the day of the exam, but also how you are on an average and bad day. So if on a bad day or an average day, you would have come in using a cane, you would have been limping, or you may not have been able to pick up that coin that was on the ground, it's important you let the examiner know that. Not only that you have days like that, but the frequency at which you have those days. It's also very important that when the examiner is doing things and asking you to do things, that you let them know you are in pain. So don't try to put on a mask and tough it out like we often do in everyday life. This is the one time to actually make sure you're complaining that you're in pain. Otherwise, the examiner may not be able to sense it. If you have more questions about these physical compensation pension exams, please give us a call and we'll be more than happy to talk you through them.